here with Justin Bieber. And the thing that so many people are talking about, his mental state and the rumors that he's joined a cult. Things would be so much easier if cults would just call themselves cults and be done with it. But they never do. The People's Temple, Heaven's Gate, the Branch Davidians, they all called themselves religious groups. But their members ended up dead. NXIVM was called a professional development organization or something of the like, but its members ended up being robbed and raped. And the trouble is, it's really, really tough to find the line between a familiar group that enhances your world and a dangerous group that's a threat to your life. And there's the complication right there that is now enveloping a West Coast church with an A-list membership. And one member in particular who's brought a lot of unwanted attention on the whole operation. The roots of this story go back decades to 1999, because that is when a young single mom attended a Christian conference in Toronto, Canada, and was wowed by a charismatic Seattle-based preacher named Judah Smith. She brought home recordings of Mr. Smith's sermons, and she played them for her 5-year-old son. Fast forward a decade to 2010, and that now teenage boy and Pastor Judah are megastars in their respective fields and reportedly joined at the hip. The boy, ding ding, you guessed it, Justin Bieber, a pop music idol and devoted member of the group called Churchome, but hardly its only celebrity disciple. The church has congregations in California and Washington State, and services reportedly attract hundreds of thousands of people online and in person. The Beverly Hills service is said to be a who's who from TV and music and sports and movies and you name it, celebs all over the place. Justin Bieber reportedly attends the service via Zoom from home. So what exactly is the problem? A few weeks back, TMZ reported that Bieber and a man named Ryan Good, who was a longtime friend of his and a co-founder of Bieber's clothing line, had a falling out over Churchome, that religion. TMZ says that Ryan Good was a member there as well, but left because it started to feel like, any guesses? A cult. And even that might have blown over had Bieber not been the source of so much speculation and concern for his well-being lately. That same week, a gaunt and seemingly troubled Bieber had a public run-in with the paparazzi. And since then, he has posted a litany of bizarre photos on Instagram with ominous captions about religion and about God. For his part, Churchome's pastor, Judah Smith, laughs off the questions, saying, and I quote, "If we're a cult, we are the worst cult in the history of all cults. We meet once a month. Guys, I stopped doing this every Wednesday. We've got to get better at this." End quote. Earlier today, I spoke with someone who knows a lot about cults. Certainly knows a cult when he sees one. David Thibodeau is a former member of the Branch Davidians, a cult led by David Koresh. Thibodeau is one of only 9 survivors of that fiery siege at Waco in 1993. He's the author of, quote, Waco, a survivor's story. And he's got some advice for Justin Bieber based on his own lived experience in a cult. Here's our conversation. Tell me your thoughts about Justin Bieber and your concerns for him.
So, I mean, really, everyone has a right to their faith. This is America. You can worship a fishbowl and believe in a fish as your creator and God if you wish to. That's the great thing about the Constitution and the right to have your own faith, if you will. And I just like to point out to people that every single religion started off as what people call a cult. It's usually one person that starts a new vision or a new sect or a new segment. Some people follow him, and then it grows and grows and grows over time. Mormonism, Christianity, the Catholic Church, all of it at one point was a small church that some people thought was weird and called the cult. So I personally don't like to use that term. But, I understand there are some destructive religions, and if you get the wrong leader who wants to basically control and run every aspect of someone's life, then, yeah, you could get in trouble. Now, with Justin, what's happening, I guess some of his friends are leaving and saying that they think that the influence is too strong, that he's in a group. I personally don't know. I'm not there.
Can you give me your thoughts about warning signs, things that, as advice for Justin, what should he be looking for that you now know because you lived through but didn't see it at the time?
Sure. It's just about going with what, what your gut says. There's all kinds of times that you feel that you're doing something wrong, but everyone around you is telling you it's right. And even though you have that feeling with so many people influencing it, it can overcome your own feeling of what's right and wrong. So again, the social proof, if a lot of people's telling them to do one thing, start to think about the other. That's number one. Number two is read other different viewpoints. Don't get caught in just like if his, I don't know. I don't know this about his group, so I'm not saying anything bad about his group. I don't know. I haven't attended that church. But if they're Bible based and they're saying only read the Bible, that's a huge red flag. You should always be able to use your intellect and to use your mind to grow instead of staying in one space and thinking very small, very myopic. That's really the huge danger.
The other thing that is significantly different from the Branch Davidians and the people that Justin is aligning himself with is that they are, I believe, once a month. They meet once a month. It's not an in-your-face everyday kind of association. Do you see that as an asset?
Yeah, that's a very good thing because that gives Justin plenty of time to have his own thoughts, to think his own thoughts. Now, I don't know how much time he's spending with this leader. Apparently, there's a lot of controversy about the leader. But again, having that time away is good. It's very good. And I don't know if they meet just once a month. I mean, I've never heard most churches are at least once a week. But I guess that was what this pastor had said, that it's once a month. So he could be exaggerating a little. I'm not sure.
You think it's an asset as well that he's not 18. He's well on
Definitely.
his way in life.
Yeah, that's the thing. Between like your teenager, your teen years and your early 20s, very influential. I mean, really, most people that become radicalized that early on in life. The more you live and the more you go through and the more you see, the more disappointments you have in life, especially, the more you tend not to believe whatever somebody's going to say or what a book says or what this says or what that says, or especially, please forgive me, what the media says. There's a lot of times the media has flat out lied about me personally. So I understand where that goes, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't really fight that. All you can do is just be there for your friends. That's what I try to do. The people that know me know that some of the outlandish stuff that people said about me is absolutely ridiculous. And you just got to toughen up a little bit and have a rough skin. That's all. I'm
old enough to have been around for Jonestown. And I've always wondered how people could be so allied to a leader like Jim Jones that they would put their own children in grave danger. Can you explain it? Can you give me insight?
Yeah, that's happened over and over again. We have a bunch of leaders, and when they take us to war and they take your young men, our young men, and they take them off to fight, a lot of times they're very disillusioned. Like, I'll use the example of Vietnam. They didn't even know what they were fighting for in that war. And they came back very disillusioned because what they were told they were going to do and what they did and found out when they learned when they got there were two totally different things. So it's not just a person. Governments do it. They all do it. This influence of control, if you will. And again, it's not about putting the children first, it's about putting God first. And there are many people out there, especially if you're raised with the Bible or with religion. Say you're raised with Muhammad, for that matter. Say you're of Islam. There's many religions where God is first. Period. It becomes God comes before everything in many religions, and because of that, those people think that everything's going to step in place. They're God first, then their spouses, then their children. There's kind of an order there, but it's always God first. So we may have a different view of that here in the Western world, but there's billions of people all over that put God before everything. And so that's just something I would have your listeners think about a little bit too.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.